So it says it's starting. We are live. Michael is muted. I gotta go over here and see if I'm able to like view the chat here. I gotta mute that. All right. Dilly dilly, folks. Dilly dilly. I'm opposite here. What's up, Ryan? What's up, Adam? Jonas Sprandel, Jay Carey. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. That would be super helpful for me. Anybody? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Josh, Mark, Jonah, Samuel, Evan GM in the house. What's up, guys? Dilly dilly. Cheers. I'm a little early here. Mass Aqua, at Mass Aqua. What's up, John? John Penguin. What am I like? About 4 minutes early, but I did not have to text Rico in case that anybody's wondering. Tip for treating baby aptasia. It's all over. Baby aptasia. I like Aptasia X or like boiling hot RO, and you squirt it mixed with lemon juice right into the mouth. And they usually go away for a while and then just they come back. You know what I mean? What's up, Hustia? So this live stream, I can't even see how many people I have watching. Like, I'm so computer stupid, basically. But I do have several tabs opened up here. Fix the mouse. Mouse is way better right there. So I can definitely see the chat now. Perfect. Can't really even see my face on the video, so that's who cares about that. I can now see how many people are watching. So I'd love to, dilly, Manny, I'd love to just shoot the shit for a while, answer some questions, and then I can post and paste the link for anybody that wants to join the chat that has any questions, wants to just hang out for a bit. You know, we'll do this for an hour. My partner in crime and my brother from another mother and my boy, Michael Aarons from Aaron's Aquarium is also on the chat, but he is working, so he's bombing around. I know he can hear the chat. He can chime in anytime he wants if he wants to say hello.
Hello.
Hello,
yeah,
there he is.
I can hear everybody. You know, I can talk fine, but I can't read the chat. So, Mike, you'll have to be my eyes.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions for Michael or any questions for saltwater that I cannot answer, Michael will be sure to answer, and he'll chime in anytime he likes. But he is working, folks, and he is driving. So if you can't get to it, he's not ignoring you. He's just following road safety precautions. What's up, Mitchell? Cruz? What's in the back of my 13.5-gallon media, etc.? So, yeah, I love talking about this new tank because I love the design. In the back of the Fluval Evo 12, 13.5 gallon is 3 chambers. And let's start from the front. That would be on the front of your glass that you're watching. It would be biohome media with a big wad of filter floss. Then the second chamber, Mike from Mass, Dank Tanks is in the house. The second chamber is a little bit more media, heavy sponge, carbon, polyfilter pad, and in the third chamber is just the return pump and the heater. You know, it's kind of like a sump. It's just on the left side of the tank. So media, filter floss, then media, heavy core sponge, ChemiPure Blue, polyfilter pad, last chamber, return pump, heater. What's up, SC Reefer? Adam, thank you. Is that the same Adams that we've been emailing that just PayPal'd me a 20 spot for some beers? Dang tanks. Fertilizer dosing, go by overall tank size or by actual water displacement. That's really tough. It can take forever to figure out how to dose a planted tank. I've done liquids. I've done the CChem line of liquids, the potassium, the iron, the Flourish, the Excel. I've done just root tabs. I've done powdered fertilization. I've done no fertilization. Like, it really, you have to work at it for a long time to be able to dial in exactly what you want to do. And certain plants take certain amount of fertilizers, a certain amount of irons and potassiums. If you have red plants, if you have green plants, it's super difficult. I say just keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Pick the plants that you can grow. Unless you want to challenge, then you can challenge yourself. But if you're looking for the easy way out, just don't bother fertilizing, except for have a nutrient-rich substrate and throw some root tabs in there every once in a while, and you're good to go. Thank you, Mitchell. What's the best thing for a spiral valve? Literally nothing. Just good soil, root tabs. Val is a heavy root feeder, and once it gets going, it's going to take over your whole tank. Any type of val, it'll just send runner. So you can see, like, right. I don't know if I can get where am I? If I'm live here or there. Anyway, the side of my tank that doesn't have the giant blixa is all crypts and sag and val, and it just like slowly goes. I'm gonna cut this whole tank down pretty soon. Just gotta need a big trim soon.
I like it the way it is. I like it like that, all grown out look. I think it looks cool.
You like it, Mike?
Yeah, I like that. The way, obviously, I can't look at it right now, but I know what it looks like, and it looks how big it looks now compared to when I came to the house a few months ago. I love it the way it looks now, all grown out and luscious.
Yeah, it's definitely like super jungle-fied. It's a good thing I left a whole third of the tank open completely, because that's where all the fish swim. I move this Mass Aquariums t-shirt here, and you can see like all the fish. That's where they swim. I do love the tank, but it needs just a haircut. A little bit of haircut. It's good for growth. Growth will come back stronger, bigger, and it'll be awesome. John Penguin says, is water softness that important when keeping South American cichlids? So, here's the deal. You can research any type of biotope, any type of ecosystem, where the fish come from, what the exact pH is, what the hardness is, the softness, so on and so forth. In the United States, most of the fish you're getting, are captive bred. They're not wild caught. But it's always good to try to match up the ecosystem with the type of fish you're keeping. But most important thing is to just keep your tank stable. Don't try to add too many things to set one thing here and one thing there and so on and so forth. If your fish are doing well and they're healthy and they're acclimated to your tank, just keep doing what you're doing. The worst thing you can do is try to change things left and right. It just throws everything way out of balance.
I think as well with the bred fish nowadays in freshwater, it's good to find out, if you can get them from the source, whoever's actually breeding them, finding out what their water parameters are, because I know more and more people, especially that breed discus, are breeding them in, more of a 7 pH. Some people are breeding them higher than 7 pH, to get them a bit more hardier and a bit more to neutral levels. So knowing where your fish have come from and knowing what they've been raised in will give you a better idea of what they're used to as well. Obviously, you can acclimate them to whatever, but more and more captive bred fish now are being bred in a way that they will tolerate, normal household water parameters.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But it is very tough to for literally, if you think about it, for any fish you're buying, whether you're ordering it online or you're going to the store, you're finding out the parameters, like to stress over matching your parameters to where you're getting the fish as opposed to just trying to acclimatize the fish to what you already have. It's a nightmare. Like if you go through all your tanks trying to make sure your tank is where you got the fish from instead of vice versa, it can be extremely frustrating.
Oh yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, with more and more breeders now, they're all trying to start like get everything towards that seven, that 7 pH level. So then you've not really got to worry about it. It doesn't matter whether it's a discus or it's an African cichlid. They're all around that 7 pH level, so you can just throw them in your tank. You know what I mean? Without having to worry about it so much.
Right.
Obviously not together. Not putting an African cichlid and a discus together. But you know what I mean about what I meant about water parameters.
Right. You can what I prefer to do is set up a tank that you think is the closest to the environment of that fish. If
Yeah.
it's African cichlid and it's sand and rock, or if it's South American and it's plant and driftwood, or just do your best to set up your aquarium exactly how their habitat should be. And if you need to tweak your water quality, that it's not going to be a burden on like your everyday life, then go for it. But if you're trying to dose pH up and pH down and adding this constantly day by day to try to match what some probably captive bred fish that you just got at your local fish store, then you're crazy. Too much. You won't enjoy the hobby trying to do that. Yeah, Holy Blix is right. Justin, I need a crypt. No, not a crypt. I need a crinum. Crinum calamastratum, my favorite plant. I need one for the back of the tank. I'm pulling all this sage and hellfire and I don't even know the name of the crypt that I have back there that's been spreading like crazy. But I want a crinum in this tank. Need a crinum, Justin, and everybody out there that's watching. If you go to H2O Plants, Justin, and he just had a kid, so he needs the money. Go buy some plants from him. I've been watching Pectec's monthly plant video. Justin has a card in my aquarium box that if you're a subscriber to my aquarium box, you're going to get a little nice little card pamphlet with coupon codes to Justin's website where you can buy really awesome plants. And so do that, but you can only get the code and you can only get the discount if you're a subscriber to my aquarium box. Not on coral, right? I only have a 13-gallon. What's up, Mark? Not on coral. They scavenge. Blah, blah, blah. All right, I might be missing the chat. I have to scroll up. Got a few people. Oh, I got the king. I got Joey messaging me. We're going to get together Tuesday night, folks, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard. Joey, the king of DIY, will be taking on Mass Aquariums Q&A. I did it with Dustin a few weeks ago. I got Joey coming on next. I'm really excited to have Joey because we message all the time, and I know you guys see him as the king of DIY and the king of aquarium YouTubes, but he's just a normal guy who's a really good guy, likes to just shoot the shit. So I'm hoping to get a nice conversation with Joey. Message me when you're done. Blah, 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 blah. All right, I got you, Justin. I'll talk to you later, bro. I'll message you later. Justin, you can come on anytime. I asked So far this week, I got Peck Tech and CJ's Aquariums on board. Justin, anytime you want to come. I know you do your Wednesday night live stream Q&A, so I'd love to come on that if you want to do on your channel. That'd be sweet. Or my channel, whatever. I picked up a couple plants at my LFS. One is called a waffle, purple in color. Do you know anything about it? Never heard of a waffle plant. I've had melon swords, Amazon swords, melon swords that look like a watermelon. They're really purple with like some black specks, but never heard of a waffle. Do I still need to dose micros, or I have to start dosing macros? If you're asking me, Drew, I dose nothing but root tabs to feed the roots. Nutrient-rich substrate, nutrient-rich food source for the roots of your plants is all I do. Water changes, pressurized CO2 in this tank, but dilly-dilly. Who do we got here? Hopefully, let's see if we can get Joey to come on.
So I've got a question for you, Mike. I'm about to set up a planted tank. I'm going to be going planted soon. I do actually have a bottle of pressurized CO2 from my calcium reactor. So, you know, obviously I've got the ability to do something a little bit more than beginner. Like, what would you suggest I'd go for? Like the type of tank, you know, whether it's like, you know, rocks, wood, what type of, you know, like type of plants and stuff. What do you think I should go for? I think the tank is like a 1x1, I think it is, or 2x2 cube. I don't think it's 2 foot actually. I think it's a foot or a foot and a half cube.
What's the gallons? That would be so much easier for me. In Europe, you guys do, my tank is this by this by this. Over here, we do gallons, 40 gallon, 10 gallon, 20 gallon, 55 gallon. What are you saying? One by one by two?
1x1x2 high, yeah, I think.
1 foot by 1 foot by 2. It looks, that's probably like an 8 gallon, I'm thinking.
Right, okay.
Yeah, 8 or 10 gallon. I would try to keep it as simple as possible and do some really nice substrate. I would spend, when you're going to spend money on starting up a tank, I would spend the money on a good substrate that you can also place root tabs in and fill that substrate with nutrients, because that's where most plants feed, is from their roots. And then really from there, you can pick any plant you want. You don't want plants that are going to get like so huge. Like, you know how they correlate it with salt water? You don't want to put a sand anemone in a 10-gallon tank, because the thing could get the size of a 10-gallon tank. So you don't want to do that. But small carpeting plants, so if you want to research and look up carpeting plants like Monte Carlo, and then do some nice plants that don't get too big that you can control, like Ludwigia or dwarf sedge, any type of Anubias, any type of boost plant, Java fern, any type of moss you want to tie down. There's really more plants that you can get away with in that size tank than you can't get away with. So by going to purchase your plants, you're probably, you know, going to have a better percentage of the coming home with all the right plants you need than a plant that is not going to work out.
Right. And do you know red plants?
Red plants?
What's the script with them? Try, because I know when I did freshwater years ago, but whenever I had red plants, they didn't stay red for very long. Why is that?
What's your Fishner blogs? Red plants need, like, I've struggled with red plants as well. But the red plants will turn green and they will survive. They just won't look as pretty.
That's what happened. They just turn green.
You need the proper nutrients for that, and you definitely need to have pressurized CO2, and you need really good lighting. And by really good, I don't mean really bright. I mean you need the right spectrum. And it's just like your SPS that you keep. You know, you can pretty much put a cheap light on softies and get them to grow constantly. But if you don't have the right light for SPS, I'm pretty sure they're going to die, or they're just not going to thrive or grow as fast as you'd like them. And it's the same thing with plants. You get these not specialized, these plants that have like needle leaves, or they're purple and pink and reds. You know, they're more difficult to take care of, and that's all there is to it.
Right. It's very similar to like keeping softy tank, SPS tank, LPS tank. You know, different levels of care and difficulty.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Fish Nerds asked me to move to my left, but I don't know which way my left is. So maybe this way.
Probably just wants you out of the shot so you can see the tank.
Ooh, we got lots of. Oh, it's good we have Justin here. He sells plants, and he's probably more of an expert than I am. I'm only go by what I've done. I don't go by like actual, you know, like I'm not a scientist on plants. I just kind of
I don't
try my
watch many
best to figure
YouTube
it out
videos.
and go with what works.
Yeah, I don't watch many YouTube videos, but I have been following Justin on Instagram. You know, on his Instagram story. I've just seen one that they've just done I think it was a vivarium or something like that with expanding foam, which was a really cool idea. That looked really good. But I've seen all of the plants that he's got in his house, like, you know, like just normal potted plants. Tons of them. So he definitely loves his plants. I think I'll be picking his brain to find out about a bit more when, you know, when I come to do the planting thing.
Yeah, Justin runs his own website. He sells all those plants. And I was posting in the chat over here, Justin just had a baby, and his baby girl was born on my number 4 kid, Lucas's birthday, February 8th. My youngest son, my 4th kid, just turned 4, and just turned 2, and Justin just had a baby girl on the same day. So
my eldest son was born on February the 8th.
yeah, well, didn't we said that too. Wow, that's a pretty popular day.
It's crazy day.
Yeah. What was 9 months prior? Let's see, February. Oh, so it's like springtime. Yep. This must when people want to bang.
Summertime when the weather is fine.
All right, Fish Nerd Vlogs, Michael just says, Aaron's Aquariums is a freaking amazing channel too. What a stream.
Wow,
So,
thank you.
So do you know Fish Nerd Vlogs?
I don't.
FNV. I watched this guy's channel, this kid's channel. He's super
Fish
young.
Nerd Vlogs. I think Pettex just mentioned him, hasn't he, on Fish Soup today?
Yeah, Fish Soup today. So like a couple weeks ago in the live stream, I was like, I want to shout out this young YouTuber that is someone that I've been watching, because, you know, he just seems like he's learning and coming up on the YouTube, but I love his videos, and he edits really well, and he's kind of quirky. And I shouted him out, and then, you know, today, a couple weeks later, Pectech shouted him out. So, you know, check this kid out. He's a young kid. He's trying to, you know, make his way on the YouTube scene, which is super difficult to, by the way, do anything aquarium related in YouTube now and try to gain subscribers. It's just friggin' so hard. So give him a look. All you guys out there, go sub to Fish Nerd Vlogs.
Yeah, I saw him today on a Pectech video, so I'll have a look tomorrow.
Yeah, go check him out. This Yo Mass, I have an AquaClear 200 hang on back. What's the modern equivalent? Honestly, AquaClears are my absolute favorite filter, period. And I've never heard of an AC 200. The most I've heard of is an AquaClear 110. I have an AquaClear 70. I've run those on a lot of my tanks. I've never ran an AquaClear 110. If you need a 110 in your tank, then you should be running a canister filter or a sump. So an AquaClear 200 hang on back, that thing must be the size of a 55-gallon tank, because I've never seen it.
Have you ever seen the Seacam Tidal?
Nope, never seen that one
Oh,
either.
that's a nice hang on the back because it's a surface skimmer as well as an internal skimmer, and the chamber for media is huge. It's a nice hang on the back filter. I'm going to be getting one of them soon.
I'll have to check that out.
I know.
We got all right, we got 50 people watching. I actually have some stuff to give away tonight eventually, but I would love to. It's almost 9:20, so I'd love to open it up for anybody that wants to come on a hangout. And I think you can fit like 10 people here. I don't have any wrenches around though, so this could be a problem. Or I need.
The one wrench that you've got in the chat with you, and I'm driving and I can't do anything.
I gotta tell Oh, I gotta get Justin on here. Yeah, we can get Justin on here if he's available. Flamingo crypts. That sounds like a really cool plant.
I can't wait to have a go on on the planted side of things again. Really excited about it, but I want to, because the tank that I've got is quite small. I want it to be just more focused on plants than anything else. And it's right next to my main reef tank, the big reef. So obviously it's got to look good. So yeah, I'm really excited to get it. I think I'm just going to put shrimp in it. Some little shrimp, but I'm not sure yet.
Shrimp is awesome for planted tanks. To answer to Drew's question, no, blackbeard algae is pretty much gone in this tank. There is a few tufts here and there, but as for now, it's looking good. Let's see if I can get over here.
Have you opened up the Hangout yet?
No, I'm sending Justin a link. I'm gonna invite Justin here.
Right, because I'm gonna go dark for a few minutes. I'm gonna go quiet.
So I'm like super new at the Google Hangout live stream, so I don't want to like open it up and have like trillion people trying to get in, but so we'll see if we can get Justin in here. Can't believe he even wants to get on. He's got a newborn baby in the house. Yes, in Ventures and Aquariums. I'm excited for baseball season because the Patriots was a sad end. I think Justin might not have Google Hangouts. Danks Flamingos he's holding for me. Yeah, I got to know what Danks Flamingos is too. While Justin is getting Google Hangouts or whatever he's doing, I'd like to really quick talk about pH in the aquarium. There's a girl on my Mass Aquariums Facebook page, Facebook group. So if you guys aren't a part of that, go get on my Mass Aquariums Facebook group. Really, oh, there he is. Justin's in the house. He's muted. Let me do a quick talk about pH, finish it up, and then he's got his wife beater and he's exhausted because he clearly hasn't slept for us since the baby's been born. Do not chase the pH, folks. And by that, I mean, if your fish are healthy and your tank is doing fine, but you've researched that whatever fish you have need a certain pH, don't start dosing and adding and pH buffing up and down constantly, left and right, because the swings of what you're doing is worse for the fish than just the fish acclimatizing to, I'm not, trust me, if a certain fish needs a 6.2 and your tank is like 14, then the fish is probably going to die. But if the fish is living and everything is doing fine, don't start adding a bunch of chemicals to your water. Just let it go. So with that, looks like Justin's here. He looks like he has got a big like castle of nuggets hanging behind him. What is that? Is it even? No, it's not even in a tank, is it, Justin? I cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Sorry, I wasn't speaking yet. I was trying to move my whole setup.
Look at that thing. That is badass.
Yeah, that's it was at Reef this year. My friend built this.
Is that what's with the glass? Is there actual smoke coming from that, or is that
Yeah.
just frosted glass?
No, it's a fog machine.
I cannot stop looking at that. It looks like the dankest, like Hawaiian friggin' volcanic weed mountain or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's one of the best setups I have over here. It's freaking great. I love it.
We need to do a complete live stream on this thing right here.
We do. I'm using my laptop right now because I'm just not in the basement, but I'll bring my live camera up here one day and we can do it.
That literally
that looks like it would be illegal in this country.
That looks like there's going to be a friggin' pterodactyl that's just about to swoop in from the curtains as T-Rex friggin' jumps up from the fog and just attacks my face.
Yeah, it's very prehistoric looking. I love this tank. It's one of my favorites, but I do nothing to it, so it's great. I just leave it running.
Well, while I have you on here, and we can all see this, can you just like spend a few minutes and go over like exactly what it is, what kind of rock it is? Is it all mosses? Is there any water? Like, just go give us the dum overview of what's going on here.
Sure. So it's a 10-gallon Shrimp King tank. It's using all dragonstone here. There's probably about 80 pounds to 90 pounds of dragonstone that's all glued together and cemented together. Most of these are live plants. There's like these air plants that I have here that don't necessarily root to anything, but they just grow without really needing anything other than a few spritzes of water every week. And then I just have some potted plants. Unfortunately, they're not doing too well. I think it might have gotten a little too cold in my living room and they're not doing the best. But all the aquarium plants are doing pretty good. I'm trying to get them to grow up out of the water into immersed grown, but they haven't done that just yet.
So where exactly is the water start?
The water right now is actually really low. It's right here. It's about halfway down the tank, but it should be actually about an inch above an inch below the top of the tank.
It's just like crazy that light, it's probably not a shadow, it's a light on the back of it. It's like a perfect round. I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's like, it should be like on the back of a karate shirt. Like I'm about to enter like friggin' a karate tournament and like that picture's on the back of my friggin' whatever you call it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It
looks so crazy.
But yeah, and then there's live moss growing on the rocks going up. There's actually a waterfall that trickles down, supplying the moss with water, which allows it to grow.
Oh my god, I am like in love with this thing.
Well, yeah, it's one of my favorite things. It's the only tank that's really upstairs, so everybody comes over and sees it and whatnot.
And besides plants, is there any is there some fish or newts or geckos or anything crawling on this thing?
Right now, there's nothing, just because with all the stone and the substrate, there's only about 5 gallons of water in here. So really, like the only thing that I could do is maybe some shrimp or a betta fish, really, or like something just really like small. But I don't do enough maintenance on it to really want to put anything in it. I just think it's just cool by itself, just as like an art piece versus a habitat.
Right. It looks amazing, and I've been watching a lot of this channel. I think he's almost at like 100,000 subscribers. His name, the channel is Serpa Design.
That's my boy Tanner.
Tanner, right?
Yeah.
I sent him my aquarium box last month because I've been watching his channel for so long, and I'm just like amazed at the enclosed terrariums he does.
Yeah.
And all the lichens and the mosses and the, he mixes it, organic with perlite to aerate everything, and then, puts like a little, almost like a mulch on top. And it's so, I really want to start something like that, like get away from just like all water, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been sending him plants for his aquariums because he's getting more into aquariums. But his enclosures are just absolutely amazing, and it's actually what got me into like my house plants that I have now in the house.
They are beautiful. And then when he goes to show you what he's setting up, and he's got all the plants, laid out, and you're like, there is no way he's putting all those in that thing and making it anywhere aquascaped or beautiful or even pleasant to look at. It's just going to look like a salad. And then he just slowly stuffs them in every corner, and you're like, holy shit, that is amazing.
Yeah,
that's my next step. I gotta get his contact info besides email and talk to him about coaching me on a terrarium.
Yeah, his stuff is really nice, and like that's the thing too. I could relate that back to aquariums. It's like you can never have too many plants. You just kind of let them do their thing and fill in, much like your tank behind you.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't have too many plants, and if you do, you trim them back.
Yeah, but like the tank that you have, I remember when that was like not even a quarter of the size that it is now, and it's just like overgrown, but it looks fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. But you know how it is. It's all about patience.
Yeah, it takes time.
It's not going to look gorgeous like the first week you do it. You could take 6 months or a year.
Yeah, I think after 6 months you get a good idea for what the scape is going to look like, and then it really takes a full year to like really fill in. A lot of people they want to plant and have that immediate jungle effect, and unless you're spending hundreds of dollars on plants to achieve that right off the bat, you're just not going to get it.
And along those lines, it's not that satisfying. Like you want to like kind of see your tank grow, move stuff around, maybe choose a different plant or take something out that you didn't have in mind. And over the course of the whole 6 to 12 to 18 months, like you're part of the tank and you're controlling what's going on. And then it finally comes to like maybe what you thought it would be, or you want to be a part of it, and then you just tear it down and start over with something new.
Yeah, it's funny because right when I feel like a lot of at least professional aquascapers and people that I know, once they reach the point of where it's like, okay, it's complete, they tear it down. Like there's no enjoyment of it.
That's how I've been lately with a few tanks. Is it gets to like, wow, that's kind of how I thought it would look 2 years ago. Okay, time to destroy it and start over.
It's like the whole reason why you set up a tank is the climb, not necessarily the end result. It's the climb to get there, and then once you're there, it's like, okay, time to start over with a new layout.
Yeah, that's what I love that about.
I'm like that all the time with reef tanks. As soon as I'm done, it's like, right, need to do something else.
And Michael changes his reef tanks more than any reefer ever on the planet. I mean, reefers, like, it takes years for their tank to settle in, and he's like, okay, that looks perfect. Okay, time to start over.
Well, to be honest, it's more just me just messing. I've definitely learned over time to just leave it alone. Stop messing. I can't stop messing because it's that itch in it. You'll have it. It'll be one of those where you need to do something all the time. You can't just sit there and watch. So, but rather than messing about with my main display with my big tank now, I'm just going to set up other tanks just to scratch that itch. You know what I mean? and then tear those down and just leave the big tank alone.
Yeah. With corals, it's just they start growing, and it's been so long, and I spent so much time and money and effort. Like I couldn't think about taking a tank down. I just did, but I couldn't think about taking my other tank down.
Yeah,
Just be heartbroken.
It's one of those for me where like there's always been something niggling me, you know, in the background that has made me just want to take it down, you know, every time. This one now though that I've got, you know, I'm happy for once. So hopefully this one will be here in years to come. Fingers crossed.
So Justin, are you getting any sleep?
One second, dogs are going off.
Michael, how's your nano tank going with the miracle mud? And that, because I've read research that it's supposed to go in the sump, but you have it actually in your tank.
Yeah, well, the way that I've not revealed it properly yet, I don't think, but the way that the plans on the way I was going to do the tank, Miracle Mud was like a perfect fit with how I was going to do the tank. But it's basically I wasn't adding corals. I was making a saltwater planted tank. That's what the plan is for the nano. So obviously having the Miracle Mud in the main display is perfect. But at the same time, I found it really difficult to locate macroalgae, you know, to use, you know, like things like dragon's breath and, you know, stuff like that. So basically I wanted to try and emulate what you guys do in freshwater, but in saltwater. You know, like, you know, getting some dragon's breath in there, you know, so like Caulerpa texifolia and stuff for the, you know, for the background, because they're quite large leaf plants and stuff. But it's not that easy to get macroalgae here. I could get sato for fun, but nothing else. Oh. So, but so far, you know, it's going through its cycle at the moment. So I've not really got any, you know, feedback of it being in the main display. It looks good though. You know, the contrast between the white gravel and the Miracle Mud looks good. Like it.
And how do you think that's going to break down for like the long run with all those nutrients?
I think it's going to be brilliant. Based on what I'm going to do, you know, based on my refugium, the refugium is absolutely banging. It's just teeming with life. You know, just absolutely teeming with life. CJ, sorry, one second. Just check. CJ did a little thing yesterday. He's just added Miracle Mud to his refugium and his system, and it's got amphipods everywhere already. You know, just teeming with them. So the way I envision it, when I get this tank running, it's just going to be just absolutely mental with life, because there's going to be no fish in there. I'm not going to be adding fish to that tank. So it's just going to be crazy. You know, I'm going to have shrimp in there, you know, microfauna. It'll look really cool, hopefully.
So it's going to be shrimp, saltwater plants, saltwater shrimp, saltwater plants, amphipods, copepods, all that crap.
Yep.
And there's not going to be any fish in it?
Probably not. If, you know, obviously people who watch my channel regularly enough will know I'm not a big fish person. You know what I mean? I'm not really into the fish. I like corals. I like plants, you know, because they've all got that element of not only decoration, but that also that element of skill, you know, and stuff like that. Because it's not the simple case of just like with a fish, like we were saying earlier. As long as you've got your water parameters that are right, you just throw your fish in your tank and off it goes. You know, give it the right food and everything, job done. But with plants and corals, you know, you've really got to pamper to them sometimes, depending on what they are. Obviously, if you've got an anubias, you know, you can grow it in the dark. Same with soft coral. But, you know, if you're going with more difficult things like you were saying about highlight and CO2, you've got to really cater to it a lot more. And I love that. I love that challenge that comes with plants and corals. Whereas fish are like, they're a means to an end. For me, fish are sort of like, they're a food source for plants and corals in one way. And also as well, because I'm a YouTuber, it's that sort of like the eye-catching side of things. People like to associate with the fish. That's why I name my fish. That's why I name my fish tank, because it's that association. But if I wasn't a YouTuber, I probably wouldn't even be that fussed about fish.
All right, so I just figured out, I stopped my chat for a sec. I don't know why, but someone wants to know about mandarins and your thoughts on mandarin dragonets. Ryan McCallum, and I missed holy shit, probably 10 minutes worth of chat.
First of all, shout out to Ryan. How you doing, mate? He's on my live stream every week. Mandarin Dragnet. They're definitely a difficult one. They're a difficult one to keep. They're definitely not for the beginner. Definitely not. Obviously, with this little tank that I'm creating, it'd be perfect for a mandarin because of the microfauna that's going to grow. There's going to be loads of pods in there. So, the mandarins in there would just be little fatties, and maybe that might be something that I do. I might add mandarins to the tank. A male and female pairing. You never know. I might even be able to get them to breed in there because there'll be no predators. But other than that, I wouldn't really. But yeah, mandarin dragnets, they're definitely a difficult fish because they need to constantly eat to keep the body fat, to keep the weight on them. And they're obviously constantly eating copepods and stuff like that. And trying to keep a constant supply is the difficult part. Now, some people have looked at getting them to eat other foods like brine shrimp and stuff like that, but it's not easy to get them to do that. So when it comes to mandarins, personally, I would always say to people, avoid them until you've had your tank running for a long period of time and you've got no fish that are going to outcompete them for food. Like my tank is heavily populated with wrasse. Now wrasse graze the rocks all day long, looking for, pods and stuff like that. And because they're so fast and they're so ravenous, they will just outcompete a mandarin day in and day out, all day, every day. So, if you don't have a large amount of pods in the first place, the mandarin's got no chance at all.
So I'd like to ask Justin, because, a mandarin needs all those copepods, amphipods. You have to continually dose your tank with these things unless you have a big enough system where your sump is like friggin' 50 gallons. Justin, what kind of fish or shrimp or what kind of life do you think in planted tanks? Like, what's his face? Serpa Design has these springtails in all his terrariums because they constantly feed off the waste. So what can you put in your planted tank that is, comparable to that?
So actually, I wanted to touch because somebody had asked, or somebody had mentioned to Aaron not to buy plants from aquarium gardens because they have snails in their tanks. So that kind of ties into your question. So one, snails are unavoidable unless you get tissue cultures. That's just going to happen. If you buy a plant from whether it's somebody, a hobbyist or a company that's growing them, there's bound to be some sort of snails. Usually snails are not harmful to your aquarium. They actually help. So typical pond snails will help break down decaying plant matter. They will kind of, as a plant is shedding its leaves, it will eat that dying plant matter to get nutrients out of it. Very rarely will they actually attack healthy leaves. Also, scuds are a big, I guess they're a crustacean. They might be considered a copepod also, but I know scuds are incredibly good in a planted aquarium for breaking down detritus even more, like from the fish poop down to even more usable nutrients from both the plants and the nitrifying bacteria in your aquarium. So between scuds and snails, you got yourself a good team to break down these things. But if you have shrimp, so if you have like cherry shrimp or a mono shrimp, actually it's primarily like cherry shrimp. If you're trying to breed a colony of cherry shrimp, scuds will actually usually outcompete them for food. They will wind up taking over and breed so much so that the cherry shrimp won't be able to establish themselves if scuds are kind of in there first. But also scuds add to the aquarium health. They basically allow a snack if the fish are big enough to eat them. So they'll snack on them occasionally.
And is that something that you can go buy? Can you go populate your planted tank with scuds?
Most fish stores probably don't sell them, not any that I have seen. You can find them online, Aquabid and whatnot. I'm thinking about setting up a tank specifically for breeding them. But you got to treat them like a crustacean, basically. Like if you dose too much iron, if you don't have the right parameters, they're not going to survive. But they're actually very beneficial to an aquarium ecosystem.
Yeah, if you hit her with copper, then they're done, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Or any sort of medication or anything that may go off. They're a type of shrimp essentially, if you think of them the same way. But they're incredibly useful for most aquariums.
Awesome. I did not know that. And that
What did you like? I heard you mention something about aquarium gardens or something like that. What was that?
Oh, somebody in the chat had said in response to you setting up a planted aquarium to not go to them because they have snails in their tanks. But like I said, snails are impossible to avoid unless you buy tissue cultures. So, and most of the time, like you have like a 2% chance of getting a snail that's going to actually be a negative effect on your aquarium. Most pond snails are fine.
All right, yeah, because obviously I'm quite close with George. Aquarium gardens is where I would be buying my plants from.
Yeah.
Obviously, they source their plants from all sorts of places like Tropica and Denelay and stuff like that. And I know that they have a lot of tissue culture going on. So maybe it's just one of those where certain plants thingy, but like you said, and it's the same. I had a big conversation about this on my live stream on Friday about quarantine and getting nasties in your tank and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's one of those where it's down to you, the hobbyist, to make sure that you don't get snails and whatever else. It's down to you to do your due diligence. Yes,
Mike, let me just interrupt you for a sec. Justin, so I don't know if you've ever watched. Have you ever watched Shiz Dank Tanks? That YouTube channel?
No, I haven't.
So it's an older channel. Has the most beautiful biotopes. Shiz Dank Tanks. If you haven't checked them out, check them out, folks. And he only uses all plants that are grown like either from like a seed or tissue culture. So really, because I want to know, and I would love for you to explain to the viewers, like the difference between like what is a tissue culture as opposed to you're getting like a small baby plant as opposed to you're getting a propagated clip off of a plant. Like, could you just like take a couple minutes and explain to the viewers? Because I would love to know, and I know my viewers would love to know for sure.
Yeah, actually, this is a video that I plan on making for this Thursday on my channel. But essentially, a tissue culture plant is a plant that was grown in a lab under sterile conditions. So basically, it will have no algae spores, no sort of pests like snails, scuds, planaria, anything like that attached to it. And it's just completely sterile. So if you're setting up a brand new tank for the first time, you use tissue culture plants. You're almost guaranteed to not have any significant algae issues and or any pest issues, if you consider them pests. Like I said, I think snails and scuds are good for an aquarium. Some people think they're not. I know when I first started my planted aquarium, I didn't think that snails were good at all. And I actually made it a mission to make sure I didn't get any. And then eventually I just said, you know what? whatever, and now I've just been fine with them. And then when it comes to most other plants sold in the hobby, they're usually grown either outdoors in giant vats, like in Florida or wherever the plants may come from. If they're overseas, they're grown primarily in greenhouses. And there's always the chance of pests being involved in them. When I get plants in, there's occasional mosquito larvae, which will usually just get out of the aquarium once it has a filter going on it. There could be other stuff. I've heard of stories of leeches being on some aquarium plants and whatnot. But you just kind of deal with those problems. Usually they're nothing too detrimental to your aquarium, and they'll work themselves out.
I don't think I want to do a planted tank now.
But it goes like this. Tissue cultures are great because they're sterile, and you usually do get a significant amount of plants in the little cup that comes in it. The problem is the time it takes to grow. You're going to spend weeks upon weeks of just getting those plants to grow to a normal size of what you would buy at a fish store or on my site or other people's websites of plants that are already grown out. So while you're getting that sterile environment, you're putting your tank behind schedule. Basically, you're adding an extra probably 3 months to for those plants to grow. And that's pretty much it. I sell both. I tend to lean more towards already grown plants because I feel like they do the best for shipping. Tissue cultures are good if you have a local fish store that has them because you can pick them up right then and there. Shipping, they're a little tricky to do, but I prefer regular plants because you can get a wide variety that way. Tissue cultures, you're limited to what they have available.
And there you have it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it on tissue cultures.
That's amazing, actually. I prefer to just get my plants like that big, and then you just want to like put them in your tank. No, I'm just kidding.
They're good. They have their uses.
I love the growing out process. Shizdang Tanks, I would love for anybody to look up his YouTube channel. His tanks are absolutely gorgeous. He does the tissue culture thing, and he grows them from I guess you can chime in, Justin, like a dry start where he's just soaking the substrate and planting, and whether he's doing like a humidity dome or some cellophane or whatever he's doing, and then he actually sprays his plants with seltzer water, just like plain carbonized water, which I thought was amazing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I didn't hear of it when he told me. And the tanks start off, and then he does time lapses of everything growing, and it literally is amazing. And I know you can do whatever you want with the camera. You can take out what doesn't look good, but he does it straight up exactly what is what, and it looks absolutely gorgeous.
So tissue cultures are good for dry start because when you do a dry start method, you allow the plants to grow essentially like 500% faster than they would underwater. Dry starts, for one, I'm doing a dry start. I have a dry start downstairs that hasn't really been aired on my channel yet because the way we're doing it. But it's been going for, I think, I want to say 9 weeks now, 10 weeks, something like that. So while it's good, the plants are growing way faster. The method that I'm using is a little bit different. My friend that actually did the tank here behind me, who aquascaped this, he has a way that you make a DIY humidifier, and then you don't have to mist the plants. You essentially just have this humidifier that's pumping fresh air that's humidified into the aquarium that's sealed, and you don't have to mist it ever, which is great. But it takes a while. It's been, like I said, 10 weeks. I still haven't filled the tank. So if you do dry start and you do tissue cultures, just know that it's like, okay, that aquarium is going to sit like that for 2 or 3 months until things are established and ready to be flooded. Because once you flood it, things melt back a bit. So you have to allow them to overgrow so that way they can withstand being flooded like that and adapt quickly. So that's all about.
You have to have patience.
Yeah, it's all about patience. If you're looking for like an aquarium to be set up now, or you have one, and dry star method may not be an opportunity, may not be an option, then it's like just buy regular plants kind of thing.
And we have a question, Doradicate Reef. Do you need to inject CO2 to have a planted tank? And the answer is no, you don't need to do that, but it certainly helps.
Yeah, think of it, the way I like to make the analogy is you have three factors, and think of it like a car. You have your engine, which is your light, right? Your light is the most important thing when it comes to when a planted aquarium. And then you have the substrate, which is your gasoline. So you need good substrate for the plants to use that with the engine, which is the light. And then CO2 is like putting nitrous oxide in your car. You're just going to allow it to go much, much faster.
Yeah. The way I've done it for years and years and years, since I was super little, believe it or not, is a nutrient-rich substrate is where you need to start. Most of your plants are root feeders, and they're going to feed from that. And then you need a good source of light. CO2 is your like optional factor.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's going to benefit the plants, but if you don't have it, your plants just go really slow, and it's like the steroid. CO2 is the steroid for your plants.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with slow growth either. I actually prefer like my 55. I've planted it where it was super fast growing plants where I was trimming every week. It was impossible to keep up with it. I've now opted for plants that actually grow much slower with CO2, so that way I don't have to trim every week. At least for my show tanks.
That's another great topic. Also, I'll just mention Justin's show tanks on Instagram are really, really cool pictures. He's got a variety of tanks that he shows. I don't think they're all his, but
yeah, no, I showcase the community.
And then he's got these little tabs, and like you can like almost virtual click the tab that the plant is you're looking at, and then that brings you to what you want to buy. It's I love it. And so Justin on Instagram, 2 thumbs up, rated 10 stars. Awesome. What the hell are we just talking about? I just ran off on that.
Slow grow, having a tank that is slow growing that doesn't need lots of trimming.
Right. So here's the thing, folks. I've been doing planted tanks for a long time, and everybody wants to start here, and then all of a sudden they have CO2. They're dosing. They're doing this. They're doing that, and then you know what? You have a lot of maintenance to do. You have to trim these plants. You have to either propagate them and give them away, or put them in another tank. You're constantly doing water changes. Like, believe me, the more your plants are taking off, the more work it is. So just before you get into what you think you want, just decide what kind of life do you lead? Do you have time to do this? Then go for it. Would you rather have a slow growing plant where you can just enjoy the tank and not have to do too much maintenance? Go for that. Definitely your lifestyle needs to be involved in what kind of tank you're starting.
Got a question for you. Obviously, my knowledge base is all in the saltwater world, and a lot of things, obviously cross over quite easily. But like you guys, you do a lot of water changes. You do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% every week, and obviously you can do that because you just get it out of the tap. But what is the reason why? Because I know like the main reasons why we in saltwater do water changes is because we want to replenish the elements that have been lost. With the corals and stuff consuming the calcium and the alkalinity and stuff like that. And also we do it to remove the nutrients. But obviously you've got a tank full of plants. So we use refugiums with macroalgae and everything to consume the nutrients so we don't have to do water changes. So why do you guys do water changes? What's the reasons? Because I'm assuming you're not getting the nutrients that you need from your tap water.
Before Justin answers, I would just like to say I do a water change on this tank every maybe 3 months, 2 to 3 months. I used to do weekly big water changes, and then it went to bi-weekly, not just on this tank, on all my planted tanks. And then I realized that if your fish load is low and you're not dosing a whole lot of crap in your tank, that you don't need to remove so much water, and you can let the system just take over. And what you really need to just worry about is your filter. You know, you don't want like your sponges getting filled with fucking nitrates and detritus and dirt and crap and crap and crap. So the only reason why I ever do a water change is to clean my filter. Other than that, I mean, you can literally get a self-sustaining system without going crazy. Justin, take it away.
I would 100% agree with you. It primarily stems down to, like you said, the fish load, which is going to determine how much you're feeding, how often you're feeding, and how much excess waste is going to be there. And that would be really the only reason why you would do a water change in an established planted tank. Now, when you're first setting up a planted tank, because a lot of people are getting into them for the first time, I do recommend keeping up with the weekly water changes, because if you don't know the balance of your aquarium, and say you know, there's a difference between a planted tank and just a tank with plants in it. So a planted tank is fully planted, like the one behind Mike. You know, it's overgrown. There's lots of vegetation there. That vegetation is absorbing all of that waste from the fish. So you could feed every day and probably never have to do a water change because of all the plants you have in there. But say you only had 3 plants in your aquarium, they're not going to be absorbing all of those nutrients.
Yes.
Right. So basically, it's exactly the same then, isn't it? Because we as saltwater reefers, we do water changes for the exact reason. You know, our bio load is a lot higher than our export. So we tend to have a lot of fish and, you know, whatever else, but we don't have a lot of corals and stuff taking the nutrients out. But, like, say, for example, Rico has a tank full of corals, absolutely hammered out with corals. And he can feed whatever he wants because his corals basically are consuming the nitrates and phosphates in the system, as well as he's got a massive refugium that's full of, you know, macroalgae and stuff. So that's why I was sort of like asking the questions to see what the reasons were, because obviously we use corals and macroalgae to take the nutrients out so we don't have to do water changes. But your tanks are basically that. So that's why I was wondering. But like what you said, that's a fair point. Is if your plants are at a density enough to deal with your bio load, just the same.
Just like Justin said, I mean, you can't just order a tank full of plants, no matter what size your tank is, and then call it a day. And, you know, okay, I got all my plants, my filter's running, you know, I never have to do a water change. You know, you got to learn your tank, you got to know what's what, and slowly get to the point where you're done with water changes. It's not like I planted this tank and just never did a water change. I did my water changes weekly, you know, 25% max. And I know that, you know, it's one of those scientific things that are out there. Like some people like to do 90%. Some people like to do 50%. Some people like to do this. You know, I like to do 25% water changes until my tank is slowly where it needs to be. Just like your tank, you know, the reason to have a giant saltwater tank is to never do water changes. 1, because it's so damn expensive. 2, because it should run sustainably and economically, but it doesn't just do that the very first day that you filled your tank with water. Like, you have to get to a point where it's coasting, but still need to monitor, but you don't need to, you know, baby it so much. You know, it's grown, right?
It's so crazy, isn't it, how, you know, many people in the freshwater side of things, you know, always want to make that transition to salt, but they're scared. But just based on that small segment there, the similarities between fresh and salt, it's borderline identical. You know what I mean? It's the same.
I've been trying to make this point forever. It's really pretty much identical. I I tried to make. I had Rico on the live stream the other time, a couple days ago, and I tried to get across that you can grow easy plants like you can grow easy corals. And you just do your regular weekly water changes, and you're not expecting to get anything fancy in your tank, and it's pretty and it's easy for you, and that's what that's what you need to be. You like that. You like to be able to just have it be easy. And then you can take it like to the next level where maybe you grow some more difficult plants and you start CO2 and you worry about your lighting. And then with your salt water, maybe you start to dose a few more things to get a few more difficult corals or whatnot. And then you get really into it and you have full pressurized CO2. You're growing carpeting plants and all these difficult plants, and your lighting is awesome. And with salt water, now you're growing SPS, and you have the best, most awesome, expensive lights and calcium reactors and giant skimmers and algae scrubbers and this and that. Like, it's the same either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely do. I know, like, obviously, with the planted side of things, I started there, but I was in and out quite fast. Had a little bit of a dabble, stuck my toe in, and then I went straight to salt. But now that I'm looking at coming back over, so to speak, and having another go. I'm just trying to work out what the things is that that you guys do and whatever else, and it's like we did a show, like me, CJ, Inappropriate Reefer, and Dev from Reef Dudes. We did a show called the Floor Reefer Show, and that's the topic that we were talking about. Making that transition from freshwater to saltwater, and it's crazy how similar that both worlds are. But it seemed to be so different. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was definitely curious on why you guys do water changes, and if you've answered that question for me.
Yeah, I actually do more water changes in my saltwater tanks than this tank. I do it every couple months.
If I had to water change my tank, I wouldn't have it. I'd tear it down. I hate water changing. That is there's a few things in this hobby. If I had to do it regularly, I wouldn't be in the hobby. And one of them's water changing. Hate it. Every single opportunity that I get to get out of doing water changes, that's what I do. And I do it for two reasons. Number one, I just straight up hate doing water changes because I always spill the water. I always ruin the floor. I just hate it. But then also as well, the stability that you get from not doing water changes is higher than doing water changes, if you think about it. And probably the same with the plant.
So I completely understand where you come from, and I agree 100%. So this planted tank is in the main floor of the house, basically. Like, people see it all the time. You walk by it, and I just see it all the time. So I never want to do anything to it. Whereas my saltwater tanks, which are in the basement, literally the only reason why I water change those is because I don't get to spend, I don't even look at them hardly ever. Like, I never look at the tanks, even though they're so gorgeous. My wife the other day said, I really wish that your 40 breeder, now this is my wife who doesn't know anything about aquariums, and she said, breeder? I really wish your 40 breeder saltwater was upstairs and this stupid planted tank was downstairs, because she loves the saltwater tanks because they're so much, well, they're more colorful, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think obviously with that it's all green, isn't it? You could add different colour plants and things like that, couldn't you, to sort of like viv it up a bit. But I suppose it's one of those, and it's like I find plant water tanks. I find planted tanks fascinating, especially the scaped ones. The properly aquascapes. When we was at Aquatic Experience and that contest was on, what was it? Was that fluval contest? With all those little like 5-gallon tanks or something like that. I don't know how big they were. All those different aquascapes. I just found it fascinating that there were so many different ways of creating a tank in freshwater. Now, if you was to do that exact same concept in salt, everything would be more or less the same. It'd just be different variations of coral. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I really, really do. I think both sides of the hobby have really got their draws. Like the neon glow when you've got actinic lights on a saltwater tank, on a reef tank that that's populated with coral, and you've got those actinics on, and the corals are just popping, and you walk in and it's like, that's a breathtaker every time. For no matter who it is, whether it's somebody who's in the hobby or somebody who isn't, it's a mind blower. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you can also get the same from planted tanks. You know what I mean? So I think everything's got its place, definitely.
It's really frustrating when sorry, every time I keep hitting the thing. I like both hobbies. I like planted tanks, I like saltwater tanks, I like terrariums. I just like nature in general, and I always have. So it's frustrating when there's like a headbutt, so to speak, between people that, let's just say, have high-tech planted tanks and then people that have like huge coral reef tanks. And the time it goes to aquascape a tank and make it just look just the way you want it is the same time that it takes 3 more years to make a beautiful reef tank where it's matured and the corals are grown in and the tank is established and so on and so on. That's I would say the only difference is you could achieve not necessarily an established, but a beautiful planted tank very quickly as opposed to saltwater.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been getting into the whole freshwater side a lot more. Obviously I speak to George Farmer and watch his channel. Like he's just put a video out now that's like 20 minutes long on his tank in his house, and that's got a variety of different plants in there. I catch Justin's Instagram stories, and when he's showing how he's making 2 cactuses go together and creating these. Justin, what is that tank that you've just created? Is it your missus or something like that? The one with the coconut stuck in the back wall? Is he still there? Is he gone?
No, he muted. We got a couple people. I got some messages, so a couple people will be on the stream. But Justin's, that is absolutely ridiculous. I love it.
That in the background?
Yeah. Here he is, Mr. Rednecky, wife beater McGee here.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying about that about different things and how I'm following different people, in the freshwater world to see, all these different ways of doing things. And I caught the Instagram story today. I don't know if it's your missus or somebody else that was saying about making was it a terrarium or a vivarium or something, using expanding foam as the background.
Oh, that's Amanda. She works for me.
Right. Okay. So, but yeah. So that as well. Like the way that was created. It was so adventurous and so DIY, and it's like wow. All these different things, these little different things that you can do. Like I've just attempted it with saltwater. Rather than doing the normal, just throwing a load of rocks in the tank and sticking corals on it. Actually tried to make a scape, what I mean? Actually create this sort of like scape. And I love it. I like the tank right now without anything in it, because the rocks are like nice. So I think there's a lot more that we can do in the saltwater world to really, jazz it up on that. But I definitely think there's far more limitations in salt than there is in fresh. You can really let your imagination run riot with freshwater, I feel.
I think you can do it with both. It's just, it just, like you said, your imagination is really the limit.
Yeah, that's it. I think as well is a lot more of you can put a lot more things in your tank and not really worry about whether or not it's going to alter your parameters or, break down or rust or, whatever else. Whereas with salt water and, with it being alkaline and everything else, is everything it's like, is this reef safe? Is this reef safe? Is this reef safe? If you've got corals in there. And
that is a great topic for discussion is like with freshwater tanks, you really don't have to worry. I mean, if you do monitor pH, which like in my case, I don't really think is that big of a deal, but mostly you want to just have your water be good. You don't want like super chlorinated water, and then you just go from there. Reef tanks, you have to have like way too much shit under control.
Yeah,
and that can be frustrating.
You're right. So it's actually funny. I do zero testing for all my.
Me neither.
aquariums.
I've never done any testing on my freshwater or my saltwater tanks. By the way, Michael, EAD.
I have a test. Oh, I have test kits, but I don't test. The only thing that I've been testing is I'm currently working on setting up a Taiwan B shrimp tank. So that obviously you have to test to make sure things are at zero. I got an RO unit. So that's the only tank that I'm testing. But my community tanks, my grow out tanks, everything I don't test. I barely do water changes. I have a goldfish tank that I don't need to do water changes just because there's enough plant load in there to sustain the waste that the goldfish put off.
Look at that. To sustain the waste of goldfish puts out, there must be a flipping full Amazon jungle in there.
It's actually lightly planted. The trick is I'm using 3 plants and floating plants that are extremely like nitrate hogs. They just absorb it like crazy. They're a sponge for nitrates.
Right.
And yes, if anybody hears a baby crying, that is my newborn. She doesn't like to take a bath, and she's pissed. So,
is it your first one?
My first one, but my girl's second. So.
So you got a bit of experience in there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, it's your first one.
My first one, yeah.
Oh, all right. I can't believe you're on a chat right now.
Well, my girl's a champion. She had a C-section, and the next day she was cleaning the hospital room. Like, Jesus Christ, would you just chill for a little bit?
That's like my wife.
Yeah.
Had the baby, and then like she's like dusting the hospital room.
Yeah,
like,
we got discharged a whole day early too. She's like, "No, I want to get out of here."
You know what? Women are absolute. If you think about it, women are troopers, aren't they? My wife was the same. My wife gave birth to our daughter, and she was in university at the time, and she didn't obviously want to break off from a university course. So she literally had the baby, and then I think it was 2 days later, she was back in university. just back doing what she was doing, just back to normal life. Baby out, there you go, and life just continued. And it's like, wow, you got to stick a high five in the air for that, haven't you?
Yeah, women are just stronger than men. That's the conclusion I've came to.
Well, 100%. Because the thing is that I get a cold, and it's not even a cold. It's like it's my nose is dribbling and it's giving me an headache. It's game over. It's game over. I'm out for a week.
Completely agree.
So I'm going to open the chat up now with the link, and I guess we can have probably about, I think, 10 people on, and then hopefully we can get some questions for saltwater and freshwater, and then we'll shut it down and call it a night pretty soon. See if we can get a few people to come on and ask some questions.
Yeah, if you're going to come in and obviously talk, because I know when I've done these type of things in the past, people come in, leave the mic muted and just sit there. So, if you're going to use the space, make sure that you've got, you're going to use the space, because there's only 10 spaces.
I can also just mute them or kick them out. But we have myself, and I don't mean to float my own boat, or whatever that saying is, but I keep freshwater and saltwater. We've got Michael on, my brother, who keeps saltwater, and he's very good at it. And we got Justin from H2O Plants, my other brother, who keeps freshwater. So now's your chance to answer the questions. We'll keep the. I just opened up the chat. Come on in, and we'll keep this going for another, 10 or 15 minutes if you got questions, and then we'll call it a night and everybody can go to bed. Justin can change some really gross, tiny baby diapers.
They're actually not. You know what? I thought having the baby diapers was going to be a huge issue. It honestly doesn't even faze me, and I'm one of those that like I get grossed out by that kind of stuff. And like changing her diaper is not even a problem. I thought it was going to be like this whole big thing, and it's just like nope.
You know what? I've had 4 children, and I can't do it. Can't do it. The smell the smells like a 3-finger jab to my throat. Honestly, I can clean up all the dog poo out of the backyard all day long, and it doesn't even bother me. But human poo, baby poo, I can't do it. And when it's up the kid's back and everything, I'm out.
I haven't gotten to that phase yet. Luckily, it's not like that. I'm pretty sure it's going to get to that phase eventually, but as of right now.
You've got a newborn, so right now they're probably dropping like little black bombs, and it's not too bad. But when you start getting this green, stinky paste, it's like, ugh.
No, she's at that. We had the black phase, the black stuff for a couple days, but now it's the green, yellowy stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Oh no. When we're at that stage, that's me. I'm out.
That's not that
bad. Michael, we have a interesting question. While I try to boot this guy, I can't get my rock to get purple algae, or my nitrate is 0. My nitrate is 0. My mag is 1450 and my cal is 450. KH is 11. So a lot of people always ask this question: how come I can't get coralline algae growing? How do we do that? So if you can talk about that for a few.
If you actually want coralline algae to grow, the best way is to introduce it somehow. So, if you've got a friend that's got like a bit of rock or something that's got coralline on it, borrow the rock and scrape it. Get a razor blade or something and scrape the algae onto some of your rocks. That's the best way to introduce it. It demands calcium. It demands a lot of calcium. If you've got 450 calcium, you've got enough calcium to get coralline growing, but you need to introduce it somehow. That's the best way to get it going. Personally, I can't stand the stuff. I like the colour of it, but one thing you got to remember is you're using your rocks, on the most part, as a filter. Unless you're like me, I use biohole media in my sump, and that's my biological filter. And the rocks also work as a biological filter, but I'm not really that fussed because the biohole media can house the majority of my bacteria.
I love biohole media.
Oh yeah. Now if you get coralline algae growing on your rocks, it reduces its efficiency. It basically shuts your rock down because your rock is like a porous sponge which bacteria lives inside and processes your nitrogen cycle. It consumes your ammonia. It then, another bacteria consumes your nitrite, etc. Now, the more you shut that rock down, the less space there is for bacteria. And then, eventually, if the coralline covers the rocks, all of those little pores, all of those indentations where the bacteria would normally live are now closed. So you won't have as much bacteria available. So if you are using your rocks as a filter, I probably wouldn't suggest getting coralline in there anyway. But if you're not, then yeah, go for it. Introduce it, get some off your mate or something, scrape it into your tank, and off you'll go. Because if you've got a nice level of calcium, you'll be fine. If you've got 0 nitrate though, I'd definitely look at addressing that, because 0 nitrate isn't a good thing. 0 nitrate can actually be a bad thing, because you don't actually know how many nitrates you have available if it's 0, because you might be at a stage where your corals are completely consuming the nitrates to 0, and that's it, and that's fine. But if you've got 0 and there isn't even enough to feed your corals either, sooner or later your corals will start to die. So having a nitrate, some sort of nitrate level, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least then you know that you've got nitrates available.
That's interesting. See, I've never done saltwater, and I always thought the purple stuff is what you wanted to have your like to cycle the aquarium. I didn't realize that actually basically degrades your rock.
It's basically a pretty algae. It's algae. So, you know, obviously nobody wants green hair algae growing in the tank, but everybody wants coralline algae growing in the tank because it's this beautiful purple. But it encrusts across your rocks and then basically shuts your rock down to be a
All right, Michael.
Anymore.
Real quick, we got Mitch and we got Mark here. Mitch, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, so I've got this 25-gallon tank and salt water. I've just added like a small internal refugium, and just wondering, I've got like Cheeto algae and like grape bubble, I think, in there. Just wondering how much of a difference it would make to your nitrate and phosphate.
Go for it, Mike.
I didn't hear. What did he say? The sound dead echoey and distant. I didn't hear.
It's a small hang-on refugium. And I'm just wondering how much of a difference the nitrates and phosphates it will make in a 25-gallon.
Sorry, you're gonna start from the beginning because I didn't hear any of it. It just sounded dead distant. What did you say?
I've got a small hang-on refugium in a saltwater
He's got
tank.
a small goddamn refugium, Michael.
Right, okay, so you've got a small hang on the back refugium, yeah?
Yeah, it's internal, and I've got some Cheeto algae and some, I think, grapeseed algae, seaweed, and just wondering what difference it's going to make with phosphates and nitrates.
Depending on the size in comparison to your tank, because I don't do things in gallons. So you'd say 55 gallon. That's Chinese to me. I don't know how big that is.
Right, so it's just it's probably about 2 liters to 70.
Right. Oh,
So
by the way,
it's only small, but I'm going to do a small. It's a simple tank with just hang on the back filter, wave maker, light. That's it. I've just added this on to see, like, as an experiment, really. But if anyone's an experience, just how it's going to go. If it's going to make a difference to do a water change from 1 week to 10 days or 2 weeks.
I would never suggest spreading your water changes out over longer periods of time. I would always say if you are water changing, do them every week, regardless, because it's not just the fact that you're removing, you're exporting nutrients with a water change. You're also importing elements that you need, your calcium, your magnesium, and all of your trace elements as well. Things like strontium and stuff like that. Now, the longer you leave the water changes, the more unstable your tank is going to be when it comes to your actual, like your alkalinity and your calcium and stuff. So, say, for example, your alkalinity is at 8 today, and then you go 2 weeks without a water change. When it comes to water change time, then potentially your alkalinity will be at 7 or lower, and then you'll do a water change and buffer it right back up to 8 again. So you imagine that swing is massive. So I would always suggest, if you are water change every week. 10%, 20%, whatever you want to do. Yeah, just to keep that stability of your levels. When it comes down to nutrient export, depending on the size of the refugium, it's probably, it's going to help, but it probably won't be drastic if it's only small. You know what I mean?
And this is add biodiversity as well. Just add some more biological filtration or anything like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be great. The thing what it'll be great for is a safe haven for micropods, for pods. It'll be brilliant for that. You'll be able to, you'll be using it. It'll really help grow your tank. And then what also that'll do is these pods will also break down matter in your tank. Excess food, excess waste, will eat it, which will also help with the tank. So refugiums are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. No matter what the size, But when it comes to nutrient export, you're going to have to check yourself to see how well it works. Yeah.
All right, thanks, mate. Legend.
No
Awesome.
worries, mate.
Good job. So we got Mark here. Mark, what's up, buddy? I seen you on Rico's the other day, right? You're on Rico all the time.
Yeah, I am. I had two kind of rookie questions, so if it's too rookie, just tell me to get off. You actually touched on it, Aaron, when you first jumped on. I have a lot of baby Aptasia. It's not full grown like you see in the videos of all the Aptasia X examples where you're killing big ass ones. It's a lot of small ones, and a lot of times they're on the side of the tank walls, and I've heard don't scrape, but you have to do regular maintenance. So it's the very small ones that I'm kind of curious about. And along the same lines of scraping, it's every 2 days I have to kind of get in there and clean off the walls. Am I doing something wrong there? Is there something overloaded, nutrients, feeding? Rookie questions.
No. The thing is, what you got to remember is the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. You know what I mean? If you don't know the answer to something, then it's a question that needs to be asked. So never be worried about asking it. The thing with Aptasia is, once you disturb them, once they feel threatened, they fire off spores. So if you're scraping them or anything like that, then they react and they fire off more of them. Can you still hear me? Because I'm going through a bit of a dead spot.
Yep, you hear just fine. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, okay. The thing with Aptasia is, as soon as they get spooked, as soon as they feel endangered, they'll fire off spores, and then you'll end up with more of them. So that's why, like what Mike was saying about Aptasia X or Joe's juice or using things like lime juice or, hot water or something like that, is great because you're feeding it to it. So it thinks, oh, food. And then it's like, oh, no, this isn't food. And boom, it's dead anyway. So it's not a chance to fire some spores off. There's also another thing which is called a Manjano wand. It's like an electrical probe or something, which you sort of like, you put it on the Aptasia, and it like electrocutes it, or I think it oxygenates. I think it like finds a load of oxygen molecules or something in its thing and causes it to explode or something. They're also a good thing. And if you want to sort of like try and help the tank attack it, you can get some true peppermint. Get some true peppermint shrimp. Don't feed them, and they'll naturally eat them all for you. And there's also what's called, I can never pronounce it. I think it's Burgoynia or something. Nudibranch. Normally, nudibranchs is something that you don't want in the system. These ones solely eat Aptasia. So if you can source some of those, especially if you've got little Aptasia, they'll mow through them in no time.
That's what I do have right now, is the really tiny ones. That's not the ones you see in videos where people are giving you examples of how to kill them. It's not those. They're really tiny. They're all over. But that's what I've got right now.
Yeah, so that's probably the spores that fired off. But if you leave them, then they will become, maybe look into.
You're breaking up, Mike.
Something.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you can find...
We're having a little trouble hearing you.
All right.
Yeah, it's because he has a stupid European accent, and we can't understand what he's saying. It's what it mostly sounds like all the time. Tries to be like, hey, what's going on? What kind of movie you watching? You like popcorn or chips or pretzels?
Where have you got on?
It just sounds like a bunch of stupid shit.
You wearing...
So basically give the X a try and the boiling water and lemon juice and kind of go from there.
If they're really small, I would probably maybe go towards the peppermint shrimps. Get some true peppermint shrimps that actually do feed on Aptasia, because sometimes they've got a bit used to eating fish food and they're too lazy to eat Aptasia and they won't do it. Or if you can source the nudibranch will definitely mow through.
Yeah, Mark, are you there,
yes,
Mark?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's like my dad.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Mike, I'm here.
And you're probably older than me, right? We're probably the same age. How old are you?
38.
I'm 38. Next
All
month.
right, good call.
See? I love Aptasia X when you have like that one just mouth. I've also had great success with boiling RO water or like tap water, and then literally squeezing lemon juice like in the water, boiling it up, syringe and needle right into the mouth, and whoosh, just like shoot it right in there. But
Right
you
on,
gotta
man.
like kind of sneak up on it because it always closes like right before you're about to get really close.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Make sure you turn your flow off as well. When you're messing about with them, turn your
Turn
flow
all
off.
the filters off, everything.
If I can even get in there, my clownfish bite the crap out of my hands anytime I'm doing anything in there. But I'll give that a shot. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Mark, I'd love to know about this. Since you said that, I watch a ton of YouTube videos on seeing clownfish like just nip the shit out of their owners.
They do.
I've always been able to. I've had 3 reef tanks over the past 3+ years. Every tank has had clownfish. I've always been able to do whatever I want in the tank. The clownfish don't even come near me. But I've seen these videos where a clownfish just like completely destroyed their owner's hands. So just give us a minute on what the hell happens when you're doing fish tank maintenance.
It's one of them. There's obviously I only have 2, and obviously one's bigger than the other, the dominant one. If I'm in there, I was in there trying to get some hard algae off, or just trying to feed coral or whatever, and just keeping my hand. I was moving a coral one time, and I had to have my wife one time with my turkey baster you use for everything, kind of keep them at bay. And one time she went home, tried to do it myself, and just they're not drawing blood. They're just nipping the crap. I mean, it surprises you because they're quick and makes you jump. But yeah, it's might be. I'm not sure if it's a territorial thing or what, but they nip the crap out of my hand when I'm in there, and I'm trying to keep them away. But you only got 2 hands, so there's only so much you can do.
That's funny. I don't know that there's a lot of freshwater fish out there besides like maybe like a Oscar or a flower horn or like these big cichlids that'll get in there and like really destroy you up. But I've never had a problem with
I was feeding coral one time.
fish.
I was feeding coral one time with the lights off, and that seemed to keep them at bay. Maybe they're just not used to it, or the lights aren't on, they can't see, or just still sleeping. So that was the one time I had success. But yeah, it happens. I just
are your clowns hosted by an anemone? Are they hosted by anything?
No, sir.
No. Wow. No. So they're just muppets then. Because normally
I'm not advanced enough to have an enemy yet. I need to learn more.
Well, normally they only tend to get aggressive when they're being territorial. So if they're being hosted by an enemy or whatever, they'll protect that, and that's why they get aggressive. Like I've got a pair of clowns now that are like model citizens, but I used to have a pair of clowns which were maroon clowns, which were big anyway. Actually, they were tomato clowns, and I called them Penny and Wise because it was horrible. I could put my hands in the tank, and they was breeding as well, which made them even worse. So if I put my hands in the tank and forgot where they were, they would hit me in waves. The female would hit me. She'd bite and she'd twist and she'd pull.
Holy
and then literally as soon as she's let go, he'd hit me, and then he'd bite and twist and pull. I've got scars in between my fingers where they actually drew blood.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So clownfish. I see loads of people like, I want my clownfish to go in an anemone and be hosted by it. That's the last thing that I want. I don't want them anywhere near anemones because they become territorial, they become aggressive, and then it's like, I can't be doing with it.
It might be the size of the tank. I got the Evo 13 because of Aaron in his videos. I got it because of him, so it might be the size of the tank. It's so small. I'm not sure.
Right,
this guy, or it could be a girl, who knows? Jaron Nolan. Hey, Mass, how do you like the Evo? Is it easier than the 10-gallon? I love the Evo. The Fluval Evo 12, 13.5 gallon, and they're not a sponsor of me. Although they gave me the tank. Okay, so they're a sponsor. They gave me the tank for free, but they're not paying me to. I just love the tank. It's awesome.
I'm glad you got rid of that ugly top, though.
Ugh, the top was the worst. That was the first thing to go. Not to mention I friggin' broke the thing in half just trying to like fit it. I was like, this
Yeah.
Immediately destruction before there was even water in the tank.
I got rid of mine and built my own screen top. So
I actually have I put the acrylic on, gone. I put the glass top, gone, because I can't feed. Now I have a beautiful screen top. I'm getting the Kessel A80 tuna sponsored coming in. I'm going to hang that over there.
I've got the AI, and it's pretty sweet. So
yeah, I've heard there was like back and forth. And honestly,
Hey, you got a
get
tuna
back
too?
to me. What's that?
Kessel sent me a tuna also.
Yeah, AI wouldn't get back to me. They would just ignore my emails over and over. So I was like, I have some Kessel contacts, and
admittedly, I got it from a friend who was taking down his tank, so I got it pretty cheap. So that's the only reason I have it.
I can't wait to put those Kessel. What's that over the volcano? Hawaiian Jurassic Park rock.
This is actually a 60-watt flood LED.
What'd that cost you?
$30, I think, off Amazon, and I hung it with fishing line.
See, folks, you can have success with cheap lights.
Yeah, it all has to do with
the buy the $9 million lights.
Yeah, what's funny too is this.
It's all about the spectrum at the end of the day. The way you got to think about it with lighting is the more bells and whistles that comes with a light, the higher the cost. If you're buying a light that just switches on and off, then it's just a light that switches on and off. You know what I mean? But if it's got Wi-Fi, if it's got, this and that and the other, then it's all a cost. You know what I mean? They've got to pay to have that put in. So obviously, the more that goes in, the more you're going to have to pay. And also as well, if you're paying for a brand name and stuff like that, realistically, all you got to know is what is the spectrum that's coming out of that light, and is that what the spectrum that the corals or the plants want? If the answer is yes, then just stick it on a timer and plug it in. Boom, job done. $30. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's funny because right now this tank has no CO2 in it. The light is probably about 2.5, 3 feet above where the water starts, and it's growing high-tech stems that you would normally need CO2 for. The only thing is they aren't fully red, and I think that has to do with because it's just white light. It's not blue or red incorporated in that, so it's not bringing out the other colors that would be in the plants, but it is growing them. They're green, they're growing, and I mean for $30-$40 and some fishing line, you really can't beat it. So
it looks friggin' amazing. I am in love with that thing. Like, it's just gorgeous, and you could.
That's very similar
to miles as you want with it.
Yeah, that's really similar to my dream tank. So basically, I said this the other day on another live stream about my dream tank, which is a realistic tank, and that is a 5 foot by 5 foot by 2 foot high reef. But the center of the reef has got like rocks that come up and out of the tank. And it's just like that. That's what I want to do, but as like a reef. So then when you look through the glass, you see all the fish swimming around. And it's like you're wading water, and your head's above the water, and you can see the island. But then when you pop down, you can see all the fish. That's what I want to create. And that is just like what I'd love to create, in that type of thing.
I'm right there with you. Actually, after this tank, when I get tired with it, what I want to do is I actually want to do a bigger size tank with a similar rock structure, and also do a living plant wall behind it. So the whole wall here would be covered in plants that use the water from the aquarium, that it would be pumped up to the top of the living wall and then trickled down into the aquarium and recycled that way.
Wow.
That's
so
my
ultimate goal. It'd be like we have algae scrubbers.
That's what it reminds me of, Mike. It's like an algae scrubber.
Yeah.
As the flow flows down.
Yeah, because this has a waterfall in it now. The water goes through the moss, so the moss is extracting all the nutrients essentially.
You know what? I'm definitely going to be picking the brains of you two, because I think there's so many things that you guys do that I could definitely incorporate into a salt tank easily. And just get really adventurous with it.
Mad botany.
What's that?
I can't believe there's not one well, there's only 48 people watching, but there's not one person that wants to come chat.
I mean, we do have Mark here. Don't discount Mark.
Mark is here. I saw you. I saw the wave, Mark.
I'm still here.
You act like Mark isn't a person. Mark,
he's a person. I feel like Mark is from the South because he's very respectful. He's called me sir 47 times, and we're probably we both graduated in 1998.
That's right. From Kentucky. Yeah, Southern.
See, Kentucky.
Damn, Mass called that.
Love it. I have a lot of family in Tennessee.
Is that where Pelfrey's from?
Yeah, Pelfrey's in Kentucky. CJ's in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, no, CJ.
Dustin's Fish Tanks is in Kentucky.
Oh, really? Cool.
Texas in Kentucky, innit?
You guys should try to get into like a giant, like Kentucky fish group. There's a lot of people in Kentucky for like YouTubers.
Oh no, yeah. Pet Tech's in Tennessee. Where's Pet Tech?
Pet Tech is in Knoxville.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
I have a lot of family that lives in Knoxville and in Cookeville. I spent summers in Tennessee. My whole life, every summer, was in Tennessee. Fishing boats, houseboats, bass boats, jet skis, cliff jumping, bass fishing.
I'm looking forward
catching.
To aquatic experience this year, because with it being in New Jersey, there's a lot of people around that area. You know, you got like people like, you know, Dave's he's not Nanotanks anymore, is it? Dave's Reefing Addiction, Reefing with Bo, Billy Pipes, you know, loads of people. Steve, you know, how are you doing, Steve? You know, all these different people in that area, you know, that, you know, we're going to be able to meet. You know what I mean? So,
you want to know what the best part about that is, Michael?
No 18-hour drive in a shit Subaru.
3 hours, man. That's all it's going to take us. We're there. 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours, and we're going in your car. We're not if we're going in the Subaru, I'm not coming, or I'm flying directly into Jersey.
Oh, no. We'll take the Suburban or the Ram. We'll take the big vehicle.
Yeah.
3 hours. That's nothing. That's one movie and a cheeseburger.
Yeah, well, falling out of love with Subarus now. I used to love Subarus. Yeah. I'm now scarred against them. Sorry, go
on. Maybe a reason why I have to scrape every couple days on a reef tank. Is that too much food?
You know, 90% of the time, the answer is yes.
Damn it. It's so fun, though. It's so fun to feed them, so, yeah.
The thing is, especially when you're new, the problem is nobody really knows what you need to feed. You know, we know that as human beings, we need to have X amount of calories per day. You know what I mean? So we know how much we should eat, or we know how much food to put on our plates, you know, per meal and stuff. But when it comes to feeding fish, the amount of food that's to be fed varies, you know, from tank to tank. You know, like we were saying earlier, because Rico has got so many corals and he's got massive fusion, you know, he can afford to put in loads and loads of food because he's got loads and loads of stuff there that's going to take the excess out. But like, you know, with your tank being quite new and, you know, your nutrient export's probably not there, or that, you know, a lot of it.
Right.
Everything that goes in doesn't necessarily come back out. You know what I mean? So it's just going to build. Yeah. And then the way I explain it about nitrates and phosphates is, imagine a plate of food. You know, you're eating your food and you're done, you're finished, but there's still food left on the plate. Yeah? And that's like everything in your tank. So your corals have just had some of the food and things like that, but there's still food left on the plate. And that, when you do your test, when you leave nitrates and phosphates, that's the food left on the plate.
I think we're losing you.
Oh, you're losing me again.
I think we got you now. Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah. So saying like, with the excess food on your plate, that's like, nitrate and phosphate readings on a test kit. So when you do your testing, you're reading 5 nitrates or 10 nitrates or whatever. That's what's left. That's what's left over after everybody's taken their bit. That's the food left on the plate after you're full, and that's available for something else to eat. So if you've got a lot of nitrates and a lot of phosphate, then it's like, ooh, algae's like something to eat. Yes. And that's when the algae starts to grow. So that's when you get a lot of brown buildup on your glass.
That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
You'll get a lot of that growing on your glass. You'll get a lot of hair algae growing on your rocks and stuff like that because there's so many nutrients available. You'll have bright lights. You're running an AI, so you've got really strong light.
Right.
You've got loads of food available. The algae's like, yes!
So basically, cutting back on that food, even though it's hard to do, is a big priority right now.
You'll be surprised how much the fish actually need. Like for example, I feed my fish flake food because it's high in protein, and I will literally get a pinch between my finger and thumb, and I haven't got big, massive, manly hands. I get a small pinch between my finger and thumb. You can't even see the food when the finger and thumb are pressed, and that's what you get because it's so high in protein.
How often do you feed?
I do that 3 times a day. So I keep it small.
Jeez, 3 times a day.
Holy
yeah,
God.
but it's a very, very small amount. You know what I mean? So I spread it out to keep the metabolism. It's like with us when, we keeping that metabolism going. But you can, maybe do a little bit more and feed once a day if you wanted to. You know what I mean? But like I said, the amount of food that you actually need, obviously depends on how many fish you've got in your tank, but it's a very, very small amount.
3, yeah.
They don't need a lot.
I don't know if it's any different for saltwater, but I only feed my fish maybe 3 times a week, and not a whole lot. Like I feed enough, but I only feed like 3
I feed
times
my
a week.
fish every other day.
Yeah.
1 time every 2 days.
Yeah, me too. Every other day.
Yeah, no, that's fine. At the end of the day, I feed mine 3 times a day at the moment because I've got an Achilles tank that was like skin and bone. It was really, really thin, so it needed fattening up. So that's why I'm feeding high protein foods often to get it, to get the Achilles nice and big. But realistically, you don't need to feed that much because, especially with a more mature tank, the tank will be providing food for certain types of fish. Like I've got a lot of copepods, amphipods in my system, which the wrasse feed on all day. They're pecking on those all day. That's food. And then I've got, build up of algae growing on the rocks and stuff. The tank grazes on that all day. So there's natural food in there. I'm just sort of like supplementing that, so you don't really need to put in tons and tons.
Okay. That's what I thought it was, and that all that you said makes a whole lot more sense now, especially with two clowns and 1 firefish, and that's it. So I think I've been way overfeeding every 2 days. Come home and got scraped. So what you said with all the plate on the food and all that makes a whole lot of sense. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, if you've only got 2 clowns and a firefish, you shouldn't really be facing anything. Have you got any corals?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so realistically, obviously depending on what corals you got, the amount of them and the size of them and stuff like that.
Not a lot, just a couple zoas, a huge toadstool, and a big torch. And I just got an A-can in, so not a lot. I mean, like I said, I'm new, so I'm still kind of building into it, little by little.
But they'll consume the nitrates and phosphates. You know what I mean? So, it's one of those where, with them consuming what they're consuming, there's still food left on the plate. If you know what I mean?
Right. So, understood.
So make smaller portions. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. Feed less.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Yeah, I will do it. It's hard to do because it's fun to watch them eat it all. But,
that's the only involvement that we get in it. It's like that's our thing. But it's one of those that you have to sort of like tell yourself like, no, don't put any more in.
Yeah, I will definitely work on that. Thank you very much.
Mass, people are saying the link isn't working.
All right. Do people want to join?
I think so. I think Tino is trying to join, and Chris wants to join.
I can jump off here if that's getting in the way. So, hey, thanks, guys. Aaron just wanted to say my wife is a huge Patriots fan, so go Pats.
Cool. Don't tell him. Tell me. Go Pats.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, go Pats. Yeah. So, thanks, guys. I appreciate everything.
Later.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. See you later, mate.
Philly Man Pete says, "Let's talk plants. What is your favorite crypt?"
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite crypts is the crypt flamingo that I'm keeping. But I have a bunch of rare crypts that are in my one show tank, my 55-gallon. I got a crypt cordata, crypt metallic redifinius, a couple other crypts that I will butcher the name of, but the Wenditti pink, the pink flamingo is my favorite. I don't know if you have any in your tank behind you.
No, I have none of those.
You got no crypts?
Well, I have one crypt, but it's I don't have any clue what the scientific name is. It's way in the back. Big leaf, big broad leaf, long, thick green stem. Doesn't get broad till the very end. Almost like a giant Java or like gourd.
Sounds like Spiralis.
It's fairly common. It wasn't like I special ordered it or anything. It was a fairly common crypt.
Sounds like Spiralis, or if it has like ruffles in the leaves or indents in the leaves, it's a balance A.
Yeah, it's a little veiny. Kind of. Like it's got a few ridges. Like it kind of looks like skinny romaine lettuce.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that's probably a balance A. It looks like it too from the camera.
All right,
the flamingos aren't crypts in general are easy to keep. Flamingos are a little bit more difficult than others, but they're relatively easy. It's just a matter of getting a good batch because they come tissue cultures, but I've tried the tissue cultures and had them all die on me. I was lucky enough to get established ones.
Have you managed to sort the link out, Mike?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's the same link I sent to you guys.
Yeah, the thing is, I've had it before where sometimes the link has just sent me like to Google Play or something like that. It's not actually sent me to where I wanted to go. Have you? I don't know how the guys normally do it. Normally, like they do the Bitly link, but then they do something else. I can't remember what it is. I normally just get somebody else to do it for me.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Does anybody know the movie with Nicolas Cage where he's like a felon on a plane and he has long hair?
Con Ed.
God, all right, it is Con Ed. Because I'm like looking at myself in the little like thing here, and because I can't fix my hair because the baby's in my arms, I think I look like Nicolas Cage right now in that movie.
You look like Peter McKinnon. You look like Peter McKinnon.
Peter McKinnon, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of do look like a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
I don't know. How the frick do I get this? I had the link. I sent it to you guys. You clicked it. You're here. So what could be the possible difference?
I have got no clue.
I don't friggin' know, man.
No.
Come on. There's got to be some techies out here. Michael or Justin, just copy the link I sent you. I don't know.
I'll try. I'll see if I can copy that link and put it in.
I've never used the Google Hangouts like this, but I will. I'll definitely copy and paste the link you sent me. So, did you have to? No, hold on. I don't know. Okay. Oh wait, it's not gonna let me paste it if I'm not mod.
Oh geez, now I have to do that.
Yeah, you're gonna make me mod.
I don't remember how to do that.
Click on my name, and then like on the 3 dots and make moderator.
Oh, there you go.
What's the plant that has like full leaves but spaces in the leaves looks wicked in tanks? That is Madagascar lace. It is one of the most beautiful plants.
Oh, I have had such a difficulty growing that plant, and I've got them so beautiful and got them to be beautiful, and then they just like die with no warning.
That's because they have
they're-
to go through a dormant phase.
Right. They're a big fucking ball in the substrate, and then you leave them for a while.
No. The thing is, you have to actually take them out of the aquarium. If you what you do with most epongatons is in nature they go through a wet and dry season, and you have to take the bulb once the leaves start to melt back. You have to take the bulb out of the aquarium, stick it in like a bag of wet sand, and you just fully you put the bulb in there, and you just leave that for like I think it's 4 to 6 months, and then you could throw it back in your aquarium and it'll resprout.
That seems like way too much work.
It is. That's why so many people just get them and wait for them to die and then buy them again.
I got you, Mark. I know what you meant. And amen to your wife. Patriots fan through and through.
Okay, I passed off the baby. Now I can fix my hair.
Is that? Oh, that's Lisa Aqua from Instagram, I think. She's laughing.
Is she still going?
Emojicon.
Is that Lisa Aqua the one that used to always get pissed on and do a video drunk?
No. She's not the Lisa Aquaria ball busting. It's not that one.
Yeah. Is she not on? Does she not do it anymore?
I haven't. No, she hasn't put a video up in a long time.
Right. Because I remember, at one point she was making videos like that. I think this is when I was still freshwater though. So actually years ago.
Oh, super long. Yes, this is Lisa Aqua Love 333 or whatever. Anyway, this live stream has been going on for a long time. So if either you, Justin, or Michael would like to say any, parting words, let's call it a night. We can all go to bed. And, well, Michael, you have to work because you're like 5 hours ahead of us. But me and Justin can go to bed.
Well,
or whatever.
Yeah, I don't sleep. I'm going to go work on my website some more.
Well, just before you go then, I'd just like to say, for all the people in the UK that are not watching this right now because you're all asleep because it's 4 a.m., but when you watch it later on, the Aqua Expo will be on the 27th of May this year. If you don't know what the Aqua Expo is, it's basically like what all the Americans get, like with Reeferpalooza and Aquatic Experience and Macca and all that. It's our little version, which we're going to attempt to grow and hopefully be this thing just like Reeferpalooza and all that. It's being held at the Aqua Depot in London this year on the 27th of May. So if you want to find out more details about it, get over to aaronsaquarium.fish and you'll find all the details there.
All right, Justin. I'll give you however long you need to plug anything you want to plug.
If they want to find me, they could check out my YouTube channel, H2O Plants. That's it.
Ooh,
as
so
simple
modest.
as that. H2O Plants. Don't forget to get your plants from H2O Plants, folks. Support the local East Coast planting people.
Support the people that grind at 11 p.m. at night on live streams in their wife beaters with their crying baby.
Cheers to that, son. All right, folks, then we will call it a night. Thank you to Justin. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to the wrenches. I think there was one. Yeah, I made Justin a wrench about 3 seconds ago. But other than that, there was nobody that came on that was a wrench because you're all sleeping. And Rico was on a live stream for 9 hours today anyway, so he's not going to come on. Okay, folks, good night. And we will see you Tuesday at 9, I got the King of DIY, Joey, coming on for Q&A. I will see you Tuesday. Good night.
Later.
Hey, Justin.
Later.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Later, Michael.